importance of having breakfast. But then you say, you know what, for my breakfast, I'm going to have, a full Trinidadian, I won't say a full English, okay, or continental breakfast, say full Jamaican breakfast, okay, which is filled with all sorts of things. What does a Jamaican breakfast comprise of? Ground provision, ackee, saltfish, bake. Heavy breakfast, okay? Heavy. Okay, so you want a heavy breakfast. Yeah. But the thing about it, how much time would it take to make the heavy breakfast? A lot of time, isn't it? Yeah, okay? So you want to go the Jamaican way and eat a heavy breakfast. You think that's the best way forward, all right? Which is, we think, so day one, you make this heavy breakfast, but you realize that it just took you 2 hours and you've been late for work and you've been late for other things. And then, so you've had your heavy breakfast in day one. Day two, you realize that I can't spend so long time, so we'll have half a heavy breakfast. And then it continues like that until they say, you know what, I can just have maybe some cereals or something like that, and eventually say, I'll just drink some water or a cup of tea. And eventually the whole idea of having breakfast goes. So the way to do it is not to start with, I want a full Jamaican to start with first. You can do like the Trinidadians. You know what? That's a doubles man there. I'll go for doubles every day or something like that. I'm not saying that's the best form of breakfast. But I'm just saying that you start with something which is simple, something which is easy. It could be that, look, I simply want to go with a cup of tea, and I just want to go with a toast, and that's it, or whatever. One simple thing. And then you made that a habit. And then gradually that will build. And you can, because it's something which is sustainable. You buy a box of tea bag or what have you, and then you can do it. Okay? So Leo told us that. So easy can't say no. So you do things such that you can't say no. Okay? And and look at this graph. I think this graph is an important graph for you to be able to grapple with and to understand. This is a graph that deals with motivation. And in this graph of motivation, you have 2 lines. There's line A and straight lines, line A and line B. Line A is where hard, inconsistent habit, and line B is where you have a easy, consistent habit. And if you notice what happens, you start off there, at one point you're motivated to change in terms of your habits. Okay? So it goes up. But as your motivation, you need a high level of motivation for a hard, inconsistent habit. But for the easy, consistent habit, the level of motivation required is very low. And over a period of time, it is easier to sustain the motivation for that easy habit than it is for a hard habit. And that is real time. That is research which has been done, looking at motivation versus time. Okay, so the second one I have here is that increase habits in small amounts. And I think we can sort of identify with that one. So success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's what success is. Many people feel success is, one big thing, one big push and you achieve success. That is not how success comes about. Success in any particular endeavor, any endeavor that you do in life, okay, will come from a few disciplines. And every single thing, you do it every day. You do a small amount and you do it all of the time. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to memorize the Quran. Okay, that was your objective. I would like to memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know that in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Mus'haf, you have 605 pages. 605 pages. And if it is that you were to, let's say, go through you were to memorize 1 page a week or whatever it is, you can break it down. So you break it down into small amounts. So you learn maybe 1 ayah, 2 ayah a day. There are 13 lines on each page. And then you can decide how regularly, how much you want to be able to learn. And you can break it down, and in a very scientific way, then you can say, well, look, realistically, it's going to take this amount of time. I need time for memorization. I need time for practice. 5 days I'll memorize, 2 days I'll revise, and then I'll move like that. Or 1 day that I give myself leave for 1 day midweek. So while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day, Okay, this is from Jim Rohn. And then, so the power of tiny gains. And this is an interesting formula we should look at. This formula tells us that 1%, if you do 1% change or better every day, 1.01 over 365 days, then the gain that you will achieve is 37.78. As opposed to 1% and 1% worse every day is only 0.03. Okay? So what it is telling you here is that a little incremental increase is very powerful in terms of making yourself better. That is where the secret lies. So the third thing about habit formation is never miss something twice. Yeah? Okay. I'll share the research with you so that you can go to the research. We don't have time to go to the research. Yeah. Okay, so never miss twice. Okay? So in other words, when you want to develop a habit in your life, a new habit, you have to structure it in such a way that you're allowed, you're not allowed to miss anything in terms of days, sequential days. But if it is that you have to miss a day, never miss more than one day. Don't miss 2 days. Okay? So the best way to improve your self-control is to see how and why you lose control. All right? So this is the plan. The plan is that you want to develop this new habit, and this is the way that you do it. So where the X's are is showing that you're doing the thing that you want to change in your life. Okay? Could be that you want to develop the habit of reading. Okay? A simple thing. You want to be able to read. You know that you've never read before, you don't read regularly, and you want to develop the habit of reading. How do you do it? Then you read. Don't set yourself, today I'm going to read, 100 pages. And then tomorrow comes and say, well, I don't have the time to read anything. Okay? And so I'll skip tomorrow because I've already done 100 today. You will never develop the habit like that. So the habit is developed by doing a small amount, let's say 5 pages a day, 5, 5, 5. You're allowed to miss one day. Okay? So maybe Thursday you had something else you had to do. Then you went through all of those. But you never want to have yourself in a situation where 2 days goes and then you find that your habit that you've missed. Okay, so never miss twice. The fourth thing is that of stick to a pace you can sustain. When you do something, do not look at the pace in which others do things. Or others may want to achieve things. Stick to your own pace. So if you look at, you can draw another graph here. And this is a graph between sustainability and effort. And if you look at that graph, there is something called a zone of long-term growth. And the zone of long-term growth is in the middle part. Can you see the middle part of this curve? The middle part of this curve, this area here, is called a zone of long-term growth. And in that particular zone of long-term growth is where you're doing something, but you're doing it at such a pace that it is sustainable. You see, we talked about this idea of memorizing, let's say, the Quran, or even studying the Quran. And you're giving yourself the task, well, I would like to study the Quran in a month. Okay? I want to finish the whole thing in a month. From cover to cover, I want to take a very well-known, let's say, commentary of the Quran, Muhammad Asad's or one of the other commentaries, and I want to do it this month. I want to finish the whole thing in the month of Ramadan or what have you. What you may find is that what you want to do, so that if you want to do the whole thing in 1 month, suddenly you realize that, hold on, I have to do a juz in 1 month, which is almost 2 juz, which is so much, which is a lot to cover. So it means that the effort required is a lot. So the effort is all up here, okay? Which means that when it comes to the zone of long-term growth, you're going to be out of the zone of long-term growth. Simply because the effort which is required cannot be sustained over time. So you want to do just that right amount which is sustainable, which is easy to do. If you go beyond that, then you will never be able to sustain that habit that you want to form. So how can we develop new habits then? Well, change your life without changing your life. That's the first thing. Change your life without changing your life. And that might be a little bit strange, isn't it? I'm telling you to change your life, I'm saying don't change your life at the same time. Okay? So, implementation intention. All right? You are 2 times, 3 times more likely to follow through with the habit when you make a specific plan for when, where, and how you're going to implement it. You see, you might want to become a better person or to be able to develop all sorts of different types of habits. But you cannot make a sudden radical change in your life hoping that that is going to be sustainable. It just will not work. All right? This is why diets fail. Many people who, because suddenly they're accustomed eating patties and dumpling and everything like that, and suddenly they say, well, I'm going to go on this gluten-free diet, and I'm going to go on this protein-only diet, and so forth and so on. Those things will not change because it requires, in a sense, a change in their life, the way they do things. That change in their life will never happen. So your life has to remain the same in a sense, but you're making small incremental changes within. Okay? So specific plans where, when, how. And one habit at a time. Now in habit formation, one of the key principles is that never try to change in your life more than one habit at a time. Okay? So you might realize, you might be reflective on your life and realize that I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't read, I don't do this, I don't do this, I do this, and these are